Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Browns Insider on cleveland.com. I am Dan Labbe, and we are joined today by Mary Kay Cabot. She is in Berea. Mary Kay, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
All right, let's go ahead and start with the quarterbacks, because you just put a post up, and I don't know if you call them revealing comments, but Kyle Shanahan said that there really is no clear leader. Right now in training camp, Mike-Pettine said that we're getting closer to Johnny-Manziel getting his shot to work with the ones. Did any of that surprise you at all?
You know what? I would say that Kyle Shanahan coming out and saying that no one is further ahead than the other one right now, that's news. I mean, because all that we've heard so far is that Brian Hoyer is substantially ahead, Brian's the number one, Brian's taking the first team reps. So this was different today. It had a different vibe and a different feel to it. And I think what makes it also significant is the fact that they had a day off yesterday, and they went back and they reevaluated everything. They looked at film, and they came back to decide how they're going to approach things after the second week, in the second week of camp. And I think part of what went on in the first 5 days was they needed to see a lot of Brian Hoyer with the first team offense, because he had not done that before in OTAs. And I think that had something to do with him taking all the first-team reps and Johnny not getting any. So now I think they're ready to mix Johnny in there some and see what he can do. So I think we will see a little bit more of a quarterback competition going forward.
Mary Kay, obviously when you're watching practice, Brian Hoyer seems to be a little crisper. He looks like a guy who has run an NFL offense, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like he's really grabbed hold of this thing and run away with it. Obviously, these comments today kind of back that up. How do you feel about what you've seen from both quarterbacks?
Well, like you said, when you look out there and you watch Brian Hoyer operating the offense, rolling out, dropping back, just making the quick read, hitting the open man, and putting good spin on the ball, it all looks really sharp and crisp and good. I'm sure that fans are seeing that, and I'm sure that's what you see. What we see with Johnny is some inconsistency. He's uneven at times, but then there are other times when he shows the flash and the razzle-dazzle. I think the thing to consider when you're watching Johnny-Manziel right now is everyone has to understand this is not Johnny's forte. He doesn't stand behind the center and make things happen that way. That's not who he is. Everyone knows what Johnny football is, and he hasn't really gotten a chance to show that. I asked him today, I said, when you get in the scrimmage and in the preseason games, are you going to have basically carte blanche to do whatever you want, to run around and be Johnny football? And he said, no, I don't think I'm going to have much freedom. I have to learn to run the offense that they want me to run. Now, I actually think they probably will give him a little bit more rope as time goes along, because Kyle Shanahan knows the value of a dual-threat quarterback, and who would draft Johnny-Manziel if you're going to try to turn him into something different than what he is? They have no plans of doing that. Kyle Shanahan knows what he has on his hands. So does Dowell Loggins. They are going to make the most of this asset. They'll let him do what he can do when the time comes.
Mary Kay, when you look at the offense this team is running, obviously we haven't seen a ton. They're still installing some things, but we are seeing a lot of the pistol formation, at least I think, based on kind of what I've seen. And that seems to be an offense built a little bit more around Johnny-Manziel than Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, it is, and they have said that before. They basically said, yeah, when it comes to running those kind of things, that's going to be Johnny football doing that. And so, yeah, you will see a lot more of that. Now, the thing that I will say about Brian, and I mentioned this a little bit, I mean, he is rolling out. There is motion there. This is not a stationary situation where he's just standing in the pocket and operating. And he did say today that he likes to throw on the run, and he has a knack for it. So you will see movement from both quarterbacks, but different kinds of movement in the same way that you saw different things from RG3 and Kirk Cousins when they had to throw Kirk Cousins in there against the Browns. We saw the way that he moved around and rolled out and threw on the run in that game and that victory against the Browns. But yeah, I do think that, this thing is starting to heat up, and I think that we saw evidence of that. And, I have noticed when I watched Johnny run, even in these limited opportunities, he does show that flair. You can see it. You can see that there's something there. I've seen other dual threat quarterbacks come through here or guys that were going to be that mobile and run. And I don't know. I just think that he just has a little something extra, a little extra gear, a little shiftiness, a little escapability. He's got some quicks. He can slide. He demonstrated that today. He's going to need to do that. And there's some stuff going on now in this quarterback battle.
Did Johnny sound different to you today during his press conference as opposed to Saturday? It seemed like he was a little more, I don't want to say he was more confident Saturday. I think he was confident today, but he seemed a little more deferential today, a little more, kind of I'm just here to work and do what I need to do to help the team win. Did you get that impression?
You know what? Johnny has always been like that when it comes to the talk of football. He's always said exactly the right things. I just want to help the team win. I'm not overly worried about who's going to win the quarterback competition right now. When we talk about football, that's when he sounds like that. When we talk to him about the off-the-field stuff, that's when he gets just on the slightest bit of defiance, I would say, about, hey, I'm going to do what I want to do. It's not affecting me on the football field, and I'm going to live my life. I wasn't too surprised that he sounded like this today, because that's what you get from Johnny when you get down to X's and O's.
Okay, let's talk about Josh Gordon. He's going to have his appeal tomorrow, and the guy hearing the appeal is Harold Henderson, as you reported today. And it sounds like that may not be the best of news for Josh Gordon.
No, this guy's going to take a very hardline stance on secondhand smoke. I'm trying to find out if he's the one that heard Will Hill's appeal in May. Will tried, the former New York Giant, current Ravens defensive back, tried the secondhand smoke defense, and it did not go well for him. If it didn't go well for Will Hill, there's a chance that it's not going to go well for Josh Gordon. Will Hill flat out lost his appeal on those Browns, so has pretty much everyone else who's ever tried it. Now, these guys, the legal team that is advising Josh, a really great legal team, they feel that his case is a little bit different in that he did have that one test, that control test, the B specimen, that was under the threshold of 15 nanograms of THC, or the substance that you're testing in the marijuana. They feel that will be grounds for the test, for him to get something other than the minimum 1-year ban. And they also feel that there was inconsistency in the two numbers and that he was just so barely above the 15 nanograms to begin with that, they feel like they have a strong case here. So, we'll see how it all works out. Roger Goodell will be in Canton. He appointed Harold Henderson, and it's important to note that the NFLPA doesn't have any say in the matter in who is hearing the appeal. This is an NFL situation. It's not like fair and equal, 50-50, your guy, my guy, we decide we're going to put Harold Henderson there. No, this is Roger Goodell saying, you hear this and, you decide how this is going to go. If anything, maybe Josh could get something less than the indefinite ban, but then you have some explaining to do to a lot of other people that have had to endure their indefinite bans, such as, a Justin Blackman, who he has not fared well since his indefinite ban, and some other guys that have had to serve their time.
Mary Kay, a question in the comments, more of a question of clarification, I guess, about this arbitration hearing. Is this Josh Gordon gets the max or doesn't get anything, or is there room in the middle for him to end up?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know why. I think there was a report somewhere yesterday that this was an all or nothing proposition, and it's not that. The arbitrator can come up with something less than the indefinite ban, which is a minimum 1-year situation where he would have to apply for reinstatement after that year. If the arbitrator feels that Josh deserves something less than that, then he can do that. If he wants to give him an 8-game suspension, he can do that. If he wants to make it 6 or 4 or whatever he wants to do. Now, if you go by the letter of the law, it's an indefinite ban, and if secondhand smoke has never won an appeal before, there's a chance it's not going to win it again. But, they just might have enough of an argument here that it could possibly be something less than the minimum 1-year ban.
Okay, a couple more questions. Looking at camp practice today, we saw tackling, real tackling, guys going to the ground. It got pretty physical. We saw a couple of big hits. Kind of tell us what you saw in those live tackling drills that stood out to you.
Well, you know what? This is going to be a tough, strong, fast, and I think this is going to be a pretty good football team this year. I really do. They started to be good last year. And then, there were some chinks in the armor. Obviously, the quarterbacks went down, and then there were some problems in pass defense. But this year, I think if they have fixed those major problems and added a running game, which they now have, I think they could be onto something here. The defense looks like it's shaping up to be very good. They won that goal line stand at the end of practice where they had the ball on the 2-yard line, and 3 straight times they just slammed or broke up the pass or did whatever. It was 3 straight, bang plays of just really good, solid defense. So right now the defense is winning, and I think that's in part because it's going to be a very good defense this year. You're seeing, Carlos Dansby, Christian Kirksey. You're seeing John Gibson make plays. There's just a lot of playmakers on this defense. But I will say, Ben Tate and all the running backs, I think, are running really, really hard. And, boy, I think Browns fans are going to love the running game. I mean, I think they're going to have – it's not just going to be a rumor this year, and that will also help the quarterbacks.
A question from the comments about the running backs. You mentioned Ben Tate. Of course, Terrence West continues to look good in camp. Dion Lewis had a couple of nice runs today. Chris Obanaya still hanging around. The question is, does this running back group look like it's going to be as deep as it looks on paper?
Yes, I think so. I really think so. And you know what? I have been very impressed with Ben Tate. Anybody that's out here watching practice has got to be impressed with, the hard, strong, powerful running of Ben Tate. And then you've got Terrence West pushing him. Chris Obanaya is coming in with the second team and making some good hard runs. And then, like you said, Dion Lewis showed some things today. And, of course, he's coming off of an injury that kept him out all of last season. So, he actually, took some hard hits today, and he withstood those hits and held up inside in there. So I think that was really great for him. It's a deep running back class and a good one. I mean, some of the runs that I saw out here today, I never saw a better run from a Trent Richardson last year. I mean, it was that good today. It was just, really high quality.
Last question, it comes from the comments. When you look at the offense, it hasn't been the better unit, really, most of camp. It seemed to work well today, but then at the end, when they handed out the orange jerseys, it was the defense that came away winning that competition. A commenter asks, is part of the reason maybe the offense is struggling a little bit in camp because the defense might just be that good?
That has a lot to do with it. Yes, I have been saying that. This isn't just that the defense is ahead of the offense. I think the defense is that good. I think this is going to be a defense that is going to stack right up with other defenses in the AFC North this season, and one that Browns fans can be proud of. I mean, this is going to be the dogs. And, you've got some incredible toughness in there and some playmakers. And Justin Gilbert, we haven't even mentioned how good he looks. So, again, they really needed to have at least one more good cornerback. And now when you put Joe Hayden, Buster Screen, Justin Gilbert in that backfield, along with Tayshaun Gibson, Dante Whitner, the secondary is good now. It's good. I mean, they gave up way too many touchdown passes last year, 29, which was tied for fourth most in the NFL. It was too much. They were always breaking down at the end of the game, breaking down at the end of the half. But I think that you're not going to see that anymore quite like that. So, yeah, I think the defense just so happens to be really, really good. And the first-team offense really doesn't have Josh Gordon right now, your best offensive player. He wasn't even there today. He's already up in New York. So a lot of times when you're seeing the first-team offense, you're down around, you're down around the goal line or you're in the red zone. You don't have Josh Gordon. And we all know what a difference he can make.
Yeah, and of course this organization, it's spent a lot of resources behind that defense, and it seems like it's beginning to show here in this training camp. Mary Kay Cabot joining us live from Berea. Thanks for the time, Mary Kay.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, that'll do it for another edition of Browns Insider. We will be with you each camp weekday at 2:30, bringing you live reports from Berea, telling you what happened. Day 5 is in the books, day 6 tomorrow, and then Family Day on Saturday at the University of Akron at InfoCision Stadium. For Mary Kay Cabot, I'm Dan Labbe. Thanks for watching.